Hello everybody. Can you see that my chest is very white today?
How come?
That's because Mama gave me balls yesterday. I must admit, I am now starting to like balls.
Look at my hair.
Good morning.
That's why my hair looks like this. It's morning time, and I haven't looked at myself.
Boogie, how come do you love boss now?
Because every time I take a boss, I get even more snuggles.
Yeah.
So he has this ball he plays with outside. There's a couple. He has a kettlebell and he has a football, a deflated, broken ass football.
And he has
loves
a
it.
ball.
And he goes over and over and over, and his neck, his drool gets so nasty, and it's like over here, and it gets all like crunchy because it dries and it's gross. So last night I just threw him in the shower and I just kind of washed all that off of there. I washed all the dirt off of there. Right?
Boogie, do you want to tell them about your plan?
Yeah. You mean for the retreat?
Yeah. Boogie was telling us about a plan.
Who wants to have a retreat in 2021?
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want to have a retreat.
And who wants Boogie to be there?
King Boogie.
Well, guess what? He already has plans to be. And he is such an entrepreneur that he has devised his own plan to make money. Now, we said that, or we asked you guys if you wanted us to start talking about money and finances, and you said, yes, me. So here we are, Wednesdays, we're going to talk about it. Now, we're going to start this by Boogie telling us what his plan is to make money, because Mama E said he needs to get a job. He said, okay, Mama, I am going to make a job for myself at your retreat. And I am going to raise money, and because he's such a saint, he doesn't even want to keep the money, he wants to donate it. He is going to raise money for a charity by having a kissing booth.
Boogie, you're so smart.
He said, I'm going to set up a kissing booth because everybody wants to kiss me. And I will make a lot of money.
And I will give it all away.
Yeah. You can't even spend it. You don't have thumbs.
Okay.
All right.
So, good morning, everybody. This is our first money conversation every Wednesday starting today. We will be talking about money, but you know, the most important part with regards to that, and like, how did we even get here? It's sharing with you our story and our own experience with regards to how our own relationship with money has evolved. Something that we said yesterday is that how you do anything is how you do anything. So
there was a debate on that topic.
Yeah, and you know what? Your relationship with one area of your life will trickle down to other relationships in your life. Now, that doesn't mean that, let's say, if you struggle with weight, that you struggle with money, or vice versa. However, there is a correlation that when you don't know enough about information about something, you don't have as much confidence.
It also goes back to priorities, like we were talking about. Like,
yeah.
How you do anything is how you do everything, and like the higher up on the priority list, the more time and you put into it. And so oftentimes we see that people will prioritize one thing over another, right? And then one suffers. But the parallels are, or the concepts and the principles that that get you successful in any realm are all the same.
Yep. So we're going to teach it to you guys literally the same way we've been teaching like health, weight loss, fitness, mindset, and so on and so forth. Now, why is this important to us? For one, if you're unaware, we have entered,
A recession.
a recession, right? So like the world is contracting and you may be too. And now here's the thing. Lesson number one is that there is no shortage of money. There is only shortage of opportunities with regards to money. No, there's no shortage of money.
Well,
right now, all the money is going to Amazon.
They just printed like $9 trillion more dollars.
Right. So
so.
It's your responsibility and obligation to figure out how you're going to get your hands on it. So know that. Because I feel like a lot of people, limit themselves. For just like with weight loss. It's, like you get on the phone with someone, we talk about your goals. Tell me about your goals. Oh, it would be nice to weigh 180. It's almost like hearing somebody saying, it would be nice to have so-and-so. It's like you're blocking yourself by limiting yourself. So one, know that anything is possible. You just need to be educated enough. And also, you need to be relentless about it. Just like with weight loss, you're going to notice how the principles are literally in so much alignment. But, why don't we start with you?
I want to say good morning.
Yeah.
We got Ashley, Sterling, Tammy. Sorry if we miss your name. These are just people that we see. Brittany, Teresa, Stacy. Did I say Sterling already?
Yeah.
I feel like I did.
Uh-huh.
Kristen. Yes. Erin, Laura, Crystal, Danelle. I was going to say Danielle. I don't see
Maclahan?
Andrea, Amanda, Darcy, Jeanette. What's up? What's up, Jason and Andrea and Stephanie and Emily and Jessica and Julie and Josie and Kelly and y'all. Okay, so first, I also want to go back a little bit and just say, we're here to share our life with you guys. Most of the videos that you see or podcasts or whatever, they're all like, of course we have a plan, but we don't rehearse anything. We don't discuss anything. Oftentimes we don't even have notes that we're going off of. And as our life evolves, we want to share it with you. Mm-hmm. As we learn things and as we get better at things and as we grow as humans, as a couple, as a team, as a company, as a unit, as a community, we want to share it all with you, because whatever we can give you from our own life experiences that is working, why wouldn't we share that? And if you choose to follow us, you deserve to be let in on whatever's working.
Amen.
Right? So that's why we're here. And that's why now this topic's a little bit different today, and we've shifted, right? Now, we're always going to talk about health, fitness, wellness, fat loss, empowerment, and all of that, because that is one of the things that has gotten us to where we are today. That was the start of what created probably one of the biggest changes in both of our lives. And then when we met, it was like, there was so much more. And then as we've evolved and as we get more people like you guys into our community, it's like every time we get better at things, we want to make sure that you can come along the ride with us, because people say it's lonely at the top, but not if you bring people up with you.
Hell yeah.
So we're here to bring you up with us as much as we can. So part of that is, all of that is happiness, but that's happiness and freedom within every area of your life.
Yeah.
Right? So it does start within you, which is what we've already talked about that this week. But then, yes, your relationship with yourself, but also your relationship with money, your relationship with other people, your relationship with your career, your relationship with, your spirituality or whatever.
The universe.
Yeah.
Higher power.
All are different. But the principles of getting to a place where you're fulfilled is the same. So now, the title of this, I think I made it The Debt Trap. Mm-hmm. So I want to share first, Sarit and I, we have very different pasts and histories with money and things that we've learned over time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it would be great to first share with you where we were several years ago, how we were brought up with money, what kind of families we grew up in, what kind of things we learned about money, and then kind of take you guys through the journey of that and how we got to where we are now, which is nowhere near where we even want to be. But
I do want to add one thing. If you're taking notes, the first note that you'll want to take is that your current relationship with money, unless you've been developing yourself financially and you have some kind of like a financial coach, and not a financial advisor, because a financial advisor is not a financial coach. By the way, we will get to that with time. But it's probably shaped by your environment. And what I mean by your environment, it's most likely like your parents and your family that shape your thoughts with regards for money and, you know, your relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The difference between a coach and an advisor is that the coach is there to make you better, to teach you how to be better. The advisor just tells you what to do.
Tells you what to do. The coach will help you to learn the tools so that you'll be able to control it.
Do it on your own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with like what kind of families we grew up in.
Yeah, of course.
So for me, like, grateful my parents are even still together to this day. I grew up like, you wouldn't think that I had any kind of adversity growing up. Like, both my parents are married. I have 2 brothers. Our family is relatively happy, but the amount of money that we had in the house always seemed to be like, my mom would always refer to digging ourselves into a deeper hole. I heard that a lot. And so we were very middle class, which I think is the most dangerous, but we'll get into that. Very middle class, like, I'm grateful. My parents worked really hard to be able to pay for us to do sports and things like that. Very supportive, always at our games. But I remember any time that, when it came to buying something, my mom, like, it always had to, my mom and my dad are completely different. With my mom, it's like, it always has to be on sale. I have to have a coupon for it. There has to be a deal. We're going to go to Goodwill and shop. We're going to go to the thrift stores. We're going to shop at the garage sales, and we're going to get hand-me-downs, and we're like,
yeah, didn't you say that most of your clothes were hand-me-downs from Adam?
yeah. So, I mean, I remember if I wanted to get a new pair of shoes, like, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, we can't afford that. I heard that from my mom all the time.
Drop a comment if you grew up in a similar environment like that, when your parents always said that.
And I didn't know what was going on at that point. I didn't know what debt was. I didn't know you could borrow money. I didn't even know things costed money. Like, until, you know, then in high school and stuff like that, I started to learn, got a job and all that. But on the other hand, my dad would buy anything he wanted, and he'd be like, I'll think about it later. Like, I'll figure out the money later, right? Like, if he wanted it, he would get it. And it's like, I remember every Christmas or birthday, it's like nobody knew what to get Dad, because Dad bought everything he wanted when he wanted it. So it was like, I have these 2, like, very contradicting things, and I look very much like my mom. My personality is very much like my dad, and I adapted to my dad's spending behaviors, but with, like, my mom's guilt in the back of my head, because she would always be, you need to save your money, you need to save your money, you need to save your money. You got another tattoo? You need to be saving your money. You got a new pair of shoes? I remember I would try to hide things that I bought from her because I knew what she was going to say. My dad never said shit to me, but my mom always, you need to save your money. So that's the environment, and that's kind of like the situation I grew up in. So for me, it really could have gone either way, because I was exposed to kind of like, we didn't have a lot of money, but I was exposed to spending like you do have a lot of money.
Yeah, so scarcity mindset. What is scarcity mindset? So your mom, you grew up in an environment.
Wait, what about yours?
Yeah, I want to get to that, but I want to talk about, like, so like Erin's mom had scarcity mindset. And so did your dad, but I think your dad was so overwhelmed with it that he swept it under the rug. It's almost like, and you're gonna notice how we're gonna like really relate it to weight loss. It's like somebody who is overweight or who is addicted to food or addicted to sugar. It's like you feel like you've gone to a point where it's so bad where you're like, it doesn't fucking matter if I eat another donut. Why don't I just have another half a dozen? Mm-hmm. Right? So like denying the problem because you know that you're in it so deep. Meanwhile, so that's, you know, Erin's dad's reaction. Meanwhile, her mom's reaction was, it's like, no, like, gotta save every single penny because otherwise we're gonna be deep, right? So that is scarcity mindset from both parts, just, you know, responding to that mindset differently, right? Just like, for example, fear of food. Some people will avoid eating carbs. Some people will avoid eating food completely, right? So it's like same
parallel,
same fear,
concept.
Different response, right? So now
I want to take it even a step deeper because now that I'm thinking about it, like my dad, I'm like, how did my dad end up being how he was? Like, what kind of family did he grow up in? My dad, when he grew up, his parents actually had quite a bit of money, but they did not spend it on them. They wouldn't like spend anything. My dad, I remember he like moved out when he was 18 and basically took care of his younger brother. His dad, my grandpa, you know, he's a great man, you know, but everybody's got their issues, you know. And so when my dad was growing up, like my grandpa had an issue with drinking and, you know, didn't really put a lot of time or money into the kids. So, but they had it. So I think in my dad's mind, like money is not a scarcity kind of, it's not scarce, but because he had to work so hard when he was younger to take care of himself and his brother, probably felt like, whatever, like I'll spend it because I can, because it's mine and I made it. Mm-hmm. And my mom, like both of my parents grew up during World War II and a Great Depression. So, and I noticed my grandma's behaviors on my mom's side, my mom's mom. My mom will literally save Ziploc bags. She will wash them, tip them upside down, open, dry them, and reuse them until there are holes in them. And she saves butter containers and Cool Whip containers. And way too many. She's like borderline hoarder. And every time I go home, I clean shit out. I'm like, why do you need 400 butter containers? And why did you buy 400 tubs of butter?
Because
since
it was
the
on
last
sale.
time I was here. Because I got 2 for 1.
Yep.
So, you know, I can see, like, my mom wants to save. The behavior that she saw was my grandma saving. My grandma was so thrifty. And she still is. And my grandma's set. Like, my grandma is set. And she is still thrifty. But I think it's that era that they grew up in as well.
Yeah.
Like, they lived in a trailer for a while.
So as you guys can see, like Erin's patterns with regards to money until she started becoming educated, and that has been a process, like a 2-year process at least by now, right? Was a byproduct of what she saw at home. But, you know, her parents, you know, relationship with money was dictated by the other parents. So just like, the reason why I want to bring that to your attention is because right now we are going through a crisis. And if we don't change our relationship with money right now, then that's going to negatively influence our grandkids. It's going to go that deep. And that's why, like, shame on us if we don't talk to you about it, right? Because I can guarantee you that, like, more people in this room who are listening to this would be able to change their life in multiple ways and their bodies too by changing their relationship with money. Because many of you guys don't understand the difference between bad spending and good spending. So you spend your money on shit instead of providing with yourself opportunities that will actually change your life because of your scarcity mindset. And that's okay. We've been there before too. Mm-hmm. So now, you know, I came from a scarcity mindset background. However, my story is very different. So my grandparents from my dad's side are Holocaust survivors. Okay. So if you're not familiar with the Holocaust, you need to do yourself a favor and you need to look it up. I mean, literally, like Jews in Eastern Europe were killed for being who they are.
It's a miracle if you survived.
Right. So, extremely fortunate that both of them did. They migrated to Israel right after the Holocaust, right? And that's how Israel became an independent nation, because Jews all around the world were, just getting slaughtered for being who they are, right? So, like, whatever is happening in the world right now, too, I totally get it, right? I mean, Israel is still being hated on, but this is not we're not going to get into politics right now, but basically, so from my dad's side, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. My mom was born in Syria, being a Jew. So Syria is a Muslim country. So, like...
And Muslims and Jews, if for people who don't know.
Right, like for Muslims, if you're a Jew, or like according to Islam, right, like the religion Islam, and it's a beautiful religion, but when taken out of context, it can get very violent, right? Because it says that it is your mission to, as a Muslim, to convert everybody to become a Muslim. And if you don't believe in Islam, you're basically considered an infidel. And that's why, terrorists target the United States and Israel all the time, because we are considered infidel, because we're very independent and we're very clear on who we are. And they disagree with it, and therefore it is their mission to kill everybody, because according to their law, we are disobeying the law. So they're doing a good thing. Mm-hmm. Right? However, we're not going to get very deeply into religion and politics. However, it's a part of who I am. So
it's important, like, background information.
All right, so my mom was born in Syria, literally just as bad. She had to escape to Israel at the age of 15 because Jews were just, again, like, getting killed. So, like, they had to, like, hide their entire life while they were in Syria because they were considered infidels, right? So they escaped to Israel. She was 15. So my mom, came to Israel as an immigrant, like, to a new country. Israel is only like 74 years old, something like that. It was established in 1948. So whatever, I don't know. You can do the math. But basically, my mom, she's now 61. Yeah, like, Israel was like only 10 years old, right? Like, just escaped, right? As a... when you escape from one country to another, you're considered a what? What's the word?
An alien?
No. Can you guys help me? What's the word?
When you escape from one country to another one?
Yeah. There's a word for it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What's the word? Like, there is a visa for it in the United States.
But if you don't have a visa...
Refugee. That's
refugee.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
So my mom came to Israel as a refugee, right? And so did my grandparents, right? Came to Israel as refugees from the Holocaust. So they were literally any immigrant from anywhere. Like, that's what makes immigrants, like, so relentless, is their immigrant edge. They literally, because they come into a new place as refugees, literally without nothing, right? Like, they build themselves up from zero, right? So both my dad's side and my mom's side came very, very poor. They were both extremely hard workers, right? So my dad successfully made it to the middle class, right? Like, he's a civil engineer, like, extremely dedicated to his job, became very successful at it, and I'm grateful for that, because honestly, like, I wouldn't be where I am had it not been for him, right? My mom was always like just a dedicated wife. She's a teacher too. Like, they both worked. However, they had scarcity mindset. And, you know, my grandparents are extremely disciplined. So my dad learned discipline too. So I learned the concept of saving. And also I learned the concept of, like, it doesn't matter how much money you get. Like, you always need to save for a rainy day. Like, for them, a rainy day is something that was a part of their life, because they are a byproduct of a rainy day, right? So they're like, trust me, like, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like, somebody may want to kill you for being who you are, so you need to save for a rainy day. So this is something that I learned at a very young age. So, you know, regardless of how little money or how much money I made, saving money was always a thing for me. So I grew up with what I would call scarcity mindset. I was always scared to lose money, and I always saved money. So that's leading up to like a couple years ago. Of course, being an entrepreneur, like, is anybody an entrepreneur in the house? If so, like, raise your hand. Like, let me hear you say an amen. But an entrepreneur would get it. Like, when you're an entrepreneur, especially in your startup, like, there is a lot of financial risks and sacrifices you have to make for fulfilling your dream and purpose, because that's just the reality of it, right? In order to run a business, you need cash flow, right? So that's how Improve You started, literally.
Think yourself as an entrepreneur.
Yes,
I'm a
definitely,
salon owner.
Crystal. I already see that in your future.
Yeah.
I already see that in your future. Nice, Julia. That's amazing. So, like, you guys will definitely benefit from these talks.
Tiffany's working on it. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Sterling,
Hopefully
too. I love it. You
we'll-
guys are freaking amazing.
Hopefully we will be able to connect too. For those of you on that journey, is a journey we've been walking for 2 years, and as we get better and as we grow and as we learn, we're going to share that with whoever wants to hear it too. There might be a different platform for it, because we definitely are still here to help with weight loss and
that is our mission.
Yeah, really. But
that is our mission. But anyways, so that's our journey. Now let's talk about basically like where you got yourself to.
Yeah, when I was 18 years old and somebody told me I could spend money and pay it back later. Yeah, you know how many shoes I could buy? I remember my first credit card. I got a thing for a credit card. When you turn 18, they start sending you're pre-approved. Ugh. I think my first credit card limit was like $500. I had a limit of $500.
When you're 18?
And when you're 18, you're like, wow, cool. Like, I have $500. I don't have to pay it back. Or no, I think the first introduction I had to credit was at Big Lots. I bought a futon with their credit. I was like, I don't know, 18 or something, whatever. And I'm 30. How old am I right now? 33.
33, yeah.
I'm 33, so, which isn't very old, but I feel blessed for having experienced everything that I have. But at 18, when you're like, oh, cool, like I get $500 and I can spend it and I don't have to pay it back. Oh, I don't even have to pay interest for an entire year. I'm gonna spend it all. I'll be able to pay back $500 within 12 months. But then when you pay some of it back, then you have more. And it like stays at the limit when you just keep spending it, right? So this is the trap that they get you in. And then when that 12 months hits and you start paying interest, it's like, oh shit, right? Like, how can you even, and then it's like, well, I need to get another credit card because this one's maxed out, right? But because you've made payments on the other one, right, the minimum payment, actually, I was pretty good about it at first because I was like, I don't want to owe money. I don't want to owe money. I don't want to owe money. And that was probably my problem, was thinking that I don't want to owe money rather than thinking I want to have a lot of money, right? So I ended up spending on stupid shit. There's a difference between investing and spending.
We'll have a topic about that.
We're definitely going to, but the bottom line is investing moves you forward. Spending is usually just unnecessary unless you don't feel it, right? If I've got $12 million in the bank and I buy a new pair of shoes, my bank account's not really going to feel that, right? But anyways, so I loved shoes. People knew me. Like, I had so many shoes, and I would go clothes shop. It made me feel good. I think having new stuff, people like new stuff, new things, newness, right? People cheat on their relationships because they want something new, but really it's because they're not satisfied or pleased with or fulfilled with what they have.
Or as Tony Robbins said, like, you know, 2 of the 6 human needs are the need for like uncertainty, like basically like new things, surprises, right?
We don't like surprises though. We like good surprises. Coronavirus was a surprise. I don't think anybody likes it. But, you know, we don't like uncertainty, but we like uncertainty to different degrees, right? But having that like newness, I think, is something that everybody strives for, but it's how you go about it. And I went about it by buying things that I really didn't need. And my mom would tell me I didn't need them, but I was like, whatever, I want them. And when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, like, and you don't feel the consequences, like I was actually so far in debt at a certain point in my life. I was like, I might as well just keep spending. It's the exact same thing. I might as well keep spending because I'm never going to get out of this anyways. So shit, why don't I just rack them up until you start getting denied credit, until people start sending you to what's it called? Collections. Yeah, I got sent to collections and shit too. Look, I got deep.
Look, it's literally just like weight gain. Like so many people who are like so either addicted to food or addicted to sugar have been at it for like a really long time. I mean, because they're not educated or they haven't been exposed to the right people who can get themselves out of it. I mean, just like you got collections to come at you, it's like you're going to end up developing a medical condition and you're going to get like the ambulance to come get you to the hospital because you now got sick. It's literally like it's the same path, different concept.
And what happened too, like, let's say the version of me getting sick and having to go to the hospital, now I have to take all these medications and whatever, like, was then, I would say, is parallel to my credit score being so impacted that I think it stays on your report for 7 years when you've been sent to collections. And though I'm actually, like, I don't owe any consumer debt, I still have a little bit on my student loans that I really don't care to pay off fast, so I'm just, whatever, paying the minimum. But there's only like a couple $1,000s left, to be honest. But anyways, I have no consumer debt right now, and what was I really going with that?
Yeah, I don't know where to talking about.
Oh yeah, but so as a business, Sarit and I, like, when we applied for a business credit card, she had to apply in her name because I got denied. Mm-hmm. Because I have those marks on my record. People are like, oh no, like these derogatory things, right? It affects you for so much longer than you realize. Same thing with health. The deeper you get, the more impact it has later, even though you don't realize it yet. So it's like, even in, you know, I think it's going to be gone from my record in like probably another year or something like that.
Yeah, but with nutrition, it's parallel too. It's like every meal that you eat today will affect you 5 years from now, for better or for worse, right? And just like with every financial move that you make today, every financial move will affect you 5 years from now, for better or for worse. And that's why, like, learning habits.
I gotta say hi to Justin real quick. Justin, say hi to Courtney and your pops. I coached Courtney on a snowboard team when she was in high school.
Oh,
and that's her brother.
I love that.
That's awesome.
But, you know, your learning habits is something that takes a long time, but that's the only thing that's going to transform your life, because it's going to transform your thinking. And it's the thoughts that you have today and the actions that you take today that will affect you 5 years from now. And that's why all these diets and all these things are absolute bullshit, because they don't teach you habits. They just tell you do this, do that, do that. you can only, depending on your level of discipline, you're going to last, you're going to follow through with it for anywhere between 14 to 30 days. You haven't, you haven't achieved any habits, right? And the same thing goes with your relationship with money too, right? But you don't know what you don't know, and that's why we're so passionate about talking about this, because we are seeing our lives literally like we've been through so much, and we're gonna take you like along our ride with it. But like as we're seeing our lives transforming, like we understand the importance of being educated with that, because you know what? We felt when we were not educated, we had no control.
It's scary.
If you fear money or you fear debt, it's because you don't know enough about money, so you feel out of control. And because you feel out of control, you're overwhelmed, and you're like, oh shit, I'm overwhelmed, I might as well go spend it more. Just like, if you know that you have weight to lose, but you're like, oh shit, like I feel so terrible about myself anyways, like what's an extra donut gonna do for me? It's literally the same thing, right? But by the end of the day, whether you're in debt or whether you are overweight, you're not going to feel confident and fully present in your life. And that's why it's important that you understand these things so that you can build confidence. However, something that I can tell you is that if you're not feeling right within your body, then chances are is that you're less likely to make the right decisions because your brain is foggy. That's the reality of it. So that's why like mastering your body, or just like getting your body to a right place, that's step one to changing your life.
You also lack satisfaction in what you do partake in or spend on, because you haven't done anything to earn it.
Yep.
Right? Like if you have a cheat meal, but you didn't earn it, you're using the word cheat meal as an excuse to just eat like garbage. And if you buy something, I'm going to treat myself to a manicure or pedicure or whatever, but spending money regularly is a thing that you do. That's just an excuse for you to spend more money on things you don't need when you haven't earned it, right? And this is something that I had to learn. And now, when I use any kind of money for something that's, I would call it play money. Like if I buy something I don't need it, right? But I want it and it's fun and it makes me happy or brings me joy in one way or another, whatever. Like, basically if it doesn't make me more money, it's fun spending, right? Or if it doesn't make my health better, it's fun spending, right? So, anytime I buy something now, I'm like, I actually want to wait. I want to wait until I feel like I seriously did something to earn this, and I held off and I had discipline and I waited and I whatever. And then when you buy it, it's so much more satisfying. Or then when you invest in something or you spend it on something, it's so much more satisfying and fulfilling, and it doesn't feel like a waste. Like how much shit have you bought that just ends up in the garbage? How many things are in your closet you haven't worn for 2 years? Right? Like there's so many things that we buy. I know for myself, like there's so many things that we buy. We're like, oh, this looks nice. And it's and you just buy it to buy it, whatever. And then it sits there and you're like, you already bought it. So you're just like, but that money is just literally goes nowhere.
And I want to add something to that. That's why it's also important for you to take care of your body, because if you haven't learned how to take care of your body, you haven't learned discipline. And one of the most important things that will make you be financially successful and will allow you to be financially free, whatever that looks like to you, is discipline. You need to have discipline within your money. However, if you don't practice discipline on a daily basis, right, and you have scarcity mindset, there's no way in hell you will ever learn discipline. Right? Because you're in a downward spiral. And this is why we feel so freaking passionate about this. Because like we see what's going on. We see like the shit that people spend money on, and we're like, you're actually like taking a bad situation and making it worse instead of doing the right thing to make you better. come on, like we're no different than you.
Yeah, I think that I want to wrap it up, and I want to give you guys an action step that you can take. You know, if you do want to become financially free, if you do want to have money that you feel free to spend without digging yourself deeper into a hole, or like you're making some grandiose sacrifice every time you spend a little bit, you know, I want you to first understand that if there are extremely wealthy people in the world, the Warren Buffetts, the Jeff Bezoses, the Donald Trumps, actually I think whatever, I'm not going to get into that. What's his name? Microsoft, Bill Gates, right? If all these people can have as much money as they have, why can't you? They're literally made of the same material. Like, ask yourself, like, why can't you? There's something just that they did differently. Some people are born into money, but oftentimes when you're born into money, you don't keep it. Most people who are very wealthy were not born into wealth and actually were very poor, or they're immigrants, and they have an insane amount of drive, right? I think that if you're in the middle class, it's the hardest because you're not too uncomfortable, but you're not like wealthy. So it's like you don't have enough drive because you had enough money.
You live your life playing the security gear.
Right.
We'll talk about that another.
But anyways, so you have to know that it's possible. Like whatever you want, whatever you need, is possible. You haven't been doing it the right way if you're not where you want to be, and that's okay, because hopefully we'll be able to be here to help you do it the right way, right? Now, the action that I would love for them to take would be like the auditing your transactions.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you want to find out where you're spending money that you need to spend and where you're using money that could be saved or could be better spent, go through your bank account and look at every single transaction that you've made, and you're going to grade every transaction on a scale of 1 to 5. Woogie, do you have something to say? Oh, he's like running in his dream. Look at him. Oh, his little butt's wiggling. Anyways, go through every single transaction and grade them. Grade them on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is like absolutely unnecessary. 5 is
essential.
Absolutely essential. Right? Grade them 1 to 5. Anything that's a 3 or less, cancel it. Stop spending on it. Don't do it
anymore. Get rid of it.
3 or less. Keep the 4s and 5s. Occasionally a 3, depending on what it is. Right? But if you do that, you'll already step 1.
If you're going to do that, then it tells us 2 things about you. For one, you're an action taker, right? Like if you're just going to like consume this and you're not going to do anything afterwards, then your life is not going to change, because money doesn't come to you. It requires work, just like weight loss. It's all about who you become in the process and the actions that you take daily, right? It doesn't matter how much you know. If you don't take action, you're not going to get there. And then, the second thing is courage, because sometimes cutting something off, it's like, man, that's uncomfortable, right?
I really like that thing. Do you need it?
Yeah.
Some of the things that would fall in like a 3, I think, would be like Audible, right? Like you don't need audiobooks, but if you're learning, then that's an investment in your time or your education. So, it could be kept, right? So auditing your bank account is like auditing your daily intake of food. Like, what do I eat on a regular basis? Do I need those things? Are those things helping me? Yeah, it's awareness. And then there's another parallel that I thought of, but I don't remember right at the moment. But anyways, that's step 1. I think that's good for today.
Yeah, that's good for today. We hope that you guys enjoyed our first of many money conversations. Once you start understanding money, you're going to realize how fun it is. we love it personally, and our goal is to get you to love it too. Because once you love it, your relationship with money changes, and once your relationship with money changes, things just fall into place. And I mean, we're nowhere near close to being financial free, just so you know. However, we know that we're on the path to get there.
I think that our idea, though, it's like the pot of gold that keeps moving.
Just like
right?
with weight loss.
It's like when you get to a certain weight that you thought was like the goal, you're like, oh, that's awesome, but I can be better, right? I can do more. Like the pot of gold just keeps moving. So you're never satisfied, but you can be content, not complacent, content.
Because you're at peace. You're like, there's momentum happening for me. Like, I just need to keep this going. You're not like in stress mode, like 24/7. So we hope that you found this helpful. If you did, do us a huge favor. And as you guys know, share this video. We're here to literally change your life and the lives of plenty of others. We're in a mission to transform the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, lifestyle, and money habits
that have transformed ours.
Okay, so please share it in case you're not aware. The Community Builder Challenge is on until this Friday. So please take advantage of it, because we want to gift you with all the cool things. Coaching calls, Lean Plus supplement, literally just for helping us to spread the word. So like when we close this video, you will see on the right hand side tab of your phone or your computer like an invite button for like friends of yours. Just do us a favor and like invite people. Like the bigger this community gets, the more impact we'll make. Like imagine if this show that's on Facebook Live was gonna be on like CNBC every single morning, right? Here's the thing, like we're gonna get there, right? But like imagine the impact that we'll be able to make on so many women's lives who are like working 3 jobs and feel like they're like in such a deep rut and they're overweight and they're spending way too much money on medications. Like, come on, like we can fix all of that, and we know that we can. So the only way for us to get there is through your help. So please help us, and let's help our bigger community and universe, and we want to reward you. So thank you for watching. We will catch you tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Bye.